at this basement, we've got a little bit of, yellowing down here on the basement wall, and then also a little bit of moisture that's starting to come in right where the basement wall and the floor kind of meet. You can see some damp staining right here, and back over this way, if you come a little closer, it looks kind of like some moisture is coming out, maybe from like the kitchen drain pipe right here. But what this actually is coming from the basement wall to floor joint. Where these two things meet, you've got the basement, the concrete block foundation wall, and the actual concrete floor. These are poured independently of each other, so they're not connected. If water accumulates outside of the house long enough and kind of seeps down against the wall, it can basically go underneath the concrete footer of the foundation wall here and come up, start making like a little bit of like moisture staining down here. It usually comes in very commonly right where the wall and the floor meet. And you'll also see a little bit more yellowing paint. Wear the paint off or maybe bubble it up. You can see the paint's actually coming off on my fingers because it's damp here. But if we go outside and look for any kind of conditions out here, we're gonna take a visual inspection of the configuration of the yard, as well as the roof, the downspouts, the gutters, all the drainage systems, and see if we have any sort of water that's accumulating over here that's starting to create more of this staining and the actual wall floor joint leakage. If you look, it almost goes primarily along the entire length of the basement, the rear wall here. You can see more staining. Again, you might confuse this with a plumbing drain pipe leak, but the staining again looks more like it's coming from outside, as if it's basement water intrusion. We have a little bit over here. So as I mentioned, we're going to go outside and take a look at the configuration of the yard, and then also the gutters and the downspouts and the drainage systems, and see if we can't figure out a couple corrections here to improve this or completely eliminate the dampness altogether. The backyard, may be difficult to see for the camera, but the yard itself is slowly dipped and pitched or sloped towards the house, with the most obvious slope and grading probably about 6 feet or so from the house here. You can kind of see how it just dips down a little bit. And if you look here in the middle, there's actually a big hole or a divot, which will certainly allow any water that comes from the backyard here to pool and pond in this little hole and sit right up against the foundation wall of the house here. Further, it looks like this hole is probably caused by water erosion around the downspout. If you look, I don't know if the camera can zoom in close enough, but there's a bunch of debris and other sort of foreign objects that seem to be blocking the water. What we're gonna do is take a look down into the downspout with a camera and see if we can't figure out whether or not this below grade or underground downspout drain is cracked or clogged. It might have a lot of mud and debris that have built up inside of it. Now we're gonna go ahead and start heading down. All right, not even 1.5 feet into the drain. You can kind of see what looks like a little bit of a some sort of blockage, some kind of debris here, maybe a couple of ping pong or Nerf balls, and a lot of concrete. Oh, this looks like the type of concrete that we would take and seal the above grade downspout to the below grade crock here, just to prevent anything from getting in there. But let's go ahead and see if we can't fish that out. So I got one of those little grabbers here that I'm going to try to put down there and fish out any of those debris, foreign objects here. And I'll leave my camera down there while I do it. What we got here? A couple pieces of wood. Looks like a Nerf ball. It's like playing with the claw machine. Looks like some kind of, it's a gutter spike sleeve washed down there. All right, so let's go ahead, now that we've got all of our little Nerf balls and concrete and wood and other gutter spike sleeve debris, we're gonna go ahead and further look down and see if we can't determine the issue here with this drain line. Well, you can see a pretty big pipe offset here. It looks like maybe less than 2 feet down we've got a situation where the original crock here just kind of offset and pushed itself maybe 2 inches out of alignment with the little 90-degree elbow below it. So what that does is that creates an offset where the pipe's going to allow water to kind of leak out, you know, about 2 feet here below ground. And as that water just leaks out of the pipe, it's going to erode the soil. And if you take a closer look over here, you can see where all the soil has been eroding because this downspout has been essentially washing all the dirt out from below here, which very clearly explains why we've got water accumulating up against the foundation wall here due to this offset kind of broken or cracked downspout. That's a pretty clear indication right here. So this pipe, it cracked and it broke right here, and so this is the rest of the pipe, but as you can see, it's just letting water wash out that way and erode all that soil out. That's right before we go into what it looks like the downspout. Let's see what else we can see here. Up to the 90-degree, and we're basically about 6 feet out. We're completely submerged underwater, which generally is going to indicate that there's some sort of a blockage, or maybe even a little bit of debris further down. I think I got past it. There's this little green ball right here. I keep pushing further down. So we're only about 8 feet out so far now.
How far do these pipes usually go?
Oh, these are going to go around the house and then head all the way out to the street. There is a bunch of what looks like sludge, kind of debris in there as we go further. You know, not only do we have that offset right there in the beginning, which is creating this erosion around the downspout, but it looks like a little further down, these lines are kind of blocked up with sludge, debris. This looks like a lot of old concrete or some kind of sludge in there. It's still wet. Now I'm thinking it's mud with like a grayish tint over all of it. You know what I mean? Yeah, a little bit more blockage. All right, so we got about 26 feet out. The entire line was pretty well caked up with mud, some sort of silver wash over it. It might be some of this aluminum siding paint washing down. I'm not entirely sure, but a lot of mud. We had the offset in the line. Obviously the recommended repair here would be to get the offset repaired so we don't have any water further leaking out of the downspout crock here up against the foundation wall, which is both allowing the leakage into the foundation wall as well as eroding all the soil out here, which is essentially just a self-perpetuating issue, and if left unattended, it's just going to get worse and worse. This is the entire point of being able to look into these downspouts and see if there's anything that's a little bit more simple to take care of instead of immediately calling, you know, a basement waterproofer or something, where they might sell you a sump pump or some kind of waterproofing system, but not advise you that the conditions that are accumulating water against the foundation in the first place haven't been resolved. Obviously, we don't want water around our foundation because it's a house, it's not a boat.